And now, ladies and gentlemen, I'm very pleased to introduce the mightiest athlete in the sport, the record-breaking belt-taking Demetrious Johnson. Demetrious, how are you, mate?
I'm good. How are you?
Very good to see you. Yeah, I'm excellent. We've been smashing out these interviews with the best athletes on the planet, and now we're speaking to you. So life is good. A lot of people are saying the fight that they're most excited to see on this card is you versus Rod Tang. Which fight are you most excited about?
Ooh, I think the Adrian versus Yuya Wakamatsu would be good, and I also think Stamp Fairtex versus Angela Lee will be. Those two fights are going to be sick. Yeah.
So many bangers. So many. We're going to go for our
Oh,
first
and a Super Bond fight versus Marat. That's how his name's Marat.
Mark Gregorian.
Marat Gregorian. Yeah, that fight's going to be sick too because he just goes. He goes out there and just lets it go.
Yeah, unbelievable his last KO. Let's go to Luisa Morales, who comes in via text from Phil Starr, who asks, there's been plenty of talk ahead of this special rules bout that you can survive Rod Tang's striking prowess. How do you, what do you think you will do differently to ensure you hear the final bell of the first round?
What I always do, just go out there and fight, you know. A lot of people, when you look at Rod Tang's fight, when you fought Minnie T, when you fought Walter Conklin, when you fought John Haggerty, those guys, they don't have that constant forward pressure. They didn't meet Rod Tang with forward pressure. They use a lot of angles, movements in their Muay Thai bout against Rod Tang. Just so it happens that my movement is also angles and using footwork, right? A lot of people get this stereotypical that Muay Thai, you have to go forward. But if you look at Rod Tang's last, I don't know, 4 or 5 fights in Muay Thai or kickboxing, it wasn't like 3 minutes of just this. You know, Rod Tang would do this, and his opponents would do this and use angles around him. So, I mean, if you look at all my fights, I've always used angles and footwork in all my combat and in all my fights. So why would I change?
Absolutely. We're going to go to the phones now. We've got Steve Irvine of MMA Rodeo. Steve, off you go.
Hi, Demetrious Johnson. It's a pleasure to talk with you today.
What's happening?
So, ever since the fight was announced, we've had a lot of sports analysts talk about what Demetrious Johnson's path to victory is going to be. Now, we know you've not got a problem adjusting to any other styles, but rather than letting it go to the second round where people are saying it's going to be your specialty, do you have an intent to show that you can hang in the first round and create another mighty moment for us on the night?
I'm going to have to do my best. Obviously, Rod Tang, you know, that's his world. He's got a chin of granite. He's been hit by the best athletes in the world. You know, John Haggerty kicked him flush in the neck. Minnie T clipped him with a right, left and a right. So the guy's got a chin. He's 24 years old. I mean, you know, I don't think his chin will last for another 10 years if he keeps going in that way of fighting. But, you know, we'll see what happens.
Yeah, and just lastly, so NFT world, you've got a lot of buzz with your first NFT, the Mighty NFT. Is that something you're going to continue working on in the future?
Yeah, absolutely. Galactic Fight League, it's an amazing project. I'm super happy to be a part of it. I believe it's going to be the first NFT that I just got in NFTs. And for me, I like NFTs that have utilities. And with this, a Galactic Fight League has some really cool things in a pipeline.
Can't wait to see it. All the best on the night.
Thank you.
Thanks, Steve. Our next question comes from Timothy Wheaton of Calf Kick Sports.
DJ, how you doing today, man?
Good. How are you?
Hanging out, the usual stuff. I wanted to ask you, earlier tonight, we had Akiyama call out Mike Tyson for a boxing fight. DJ, do you want to call out Mike Tyson for a boxing fight as well?
Nah. I don't need to fight one of the greatest boxers of all time. Mike Tyson is getting ready to fight one of the Paul brothers. I don't know what he's got going on, but if Mike Tyson were to fight Sexyama, I don't even think Mike Tyson would get approved because he smokes a lot of weed, and weed is not allowed in Asia. So that fight would have to take place in U.S. shore, which I doubt that'll happen. So, I don't want to call out Mike Tyson.
Good answer, man. One last question, and then I'll jump off. But what are you playing right now? What games are you playing at the moment?
I am playing Lost Ark. It's a great game. It's been out for 5 or 6 years in Korea and Russia. So right now I'm trying to get my character to a good place where I can jump back on Escape from Tarkov because I miss playing a game with my buddies.
Good stuff. Thanks, man.
Yep.
All right. Our next question comes from Andrew Mack of MMA Ireland. Go ahead, Andrew.
Hey, DJ.
What's up?
So most people, including Chachi Sichadung, view this fight as either going to Rodtang round 1 KO or you with a round 2 submission. Do you believe there's more to this fight than just surviving the first round and then submitting him?
1,000%. If I was only training just to get to the second round and finish him, then I would only be training for 6 minutes a day, right? 6 minutes in my sparring sessions. But, you know, when we're training for this fight, we've been doing 13 rounds. After the 13 rounds, we do about probably 3 rounds of straight Muay Thai. Then we do 3 rounds of jiu-jitsu grappling. I mean, this just training camp has been like a mixed martial arts fight. So for me, I don't have that mindset. I've never had that mindset in any of my fights, even my amateur career, that it's going to be a quick night. We get in there, we're going to fight. And if we get him out in the second round, we get him out in the second round. If we get him out third or fourth, so be it. But for me, I always plan for a long night.
All right, awesome. Can't wait. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
DJ, I was wondering
Yes, sir.
about that famous Marvin Hagler quote about it being difficult to do road work at 5 a.m. when you got silk pajamas. Like, you've broken so many records. A lot of people think you're the GOAT. You know, how do you maintain the hunger? Has this fight helped to reignite the spark, or has it always been there?
It's always been there. This is how I pay my bills. This is how I keep the lights on. This is how I, you know, be able to have the lifestyle that I have. So, you know, that quote from Marvin Hagler about the silk sheets. I mean, you look at Canelo Alvarez. He's still, you know, he likes fine designer things. And for me, I have my vices that I like to spend my money on. And yeah, I mean, this is my job. Like, yeah, I've always worked hard.
Awesome. Next question goes to Adam Christ from MyMMANews. Adam, are you there?
Yes, sir. What's going on, DJ?
What's happening?
Not much, man. So obviously you've had an illustrious career spanning from the WECDs, capturing UFC gold, obviously ONE FC. So the list of champions and contenders that you've taken out, where does a fight with Rodtang stank up on your personal achievement list?
For me, this would be one of the achievements of that I've done something out of the box, you know, my whole time mixed martial arts career. You know, you look at Crocop versus Vanderlei Silva, you look at Shinya Aoki when he did his mixed rules fights. You know, this would stack up on something that I've never done before in my career. Yeah, that's where I put it. I mean, a lot of my friends are excited for the fight. A lot of fans out there are excited about this fight, and I am too. So for me to, you know, I have my WC, my UFC, and then I have my ONE championship, and this would just go into one of those categories that, you know, hey, you know, I did a special rules fight. What the hell you mean? Did 1 round of Muay Thai, 1 round of, you know, mixed martial arts, and et cetera, et cetera. They're like, you know, like, why the hell did you do that? I'm like, why not?
Following on that, you've mentioned in the promo that it's always about risk for you. What's the biggest risk in fighting Rodtang?
Just being knocked out. I mean, obviously, you know, my whole entire career, I've done mixed martial arts. Like my body, the way I fight, the way I throw my jab, my cross, my left high kick, my left knee, my clinch work, everything is designed to put pressure on my opponent, right? And then when you take away those abilities of mine, of being a complete mixed martial artist, it just doesn't, I just can't flow, if that makes sense. And I always revert back to like what Carter said. He goes, you want me to do half a fight? Just half a fight? And I don't have to worry about kicks, knees, punches, da-da-da-da. That's kind of like where it is, but I don't have to worry about the wrestling. But wrestling is one of my strong suits. So that's the risk, is that I can't be Demetrious Johnson. I can't be mighty. I can't go out there and just let my stuff flow and transition between my skill sets.
And final thing for me, obviously this has been like, you know, the style is the striker versus the grappler, the MMA versus the striker. Rodtang has expressed his limiting skills in grappling, but do you think he'll be a fish out of water on the ground? And do you think the advantage will play in your favor?
Nah, I mean, the biggest thing is that it's a 3-minute round, right? So if you look at, you know, mixed martial arts, it's a 5-minute round. So with it being a 3-minute round, the fight starts on the feet. And, you know, in mixed martial arts, you can use footwork, you can use distance. You really don't have to gauge in mixed martial arts. So let's say, the first round, the second round, we're on his feet. I get him down. Then I have 2 minutes to pass guard. And so I don't think he'd be efficient on the ground. He comes from a great camp, Fairtex. They've done a great job with Sam Fairtex. And he's been training since, November or September. Now, this is if it was like, hey, first round, we're on the feet, it's just pure Muay Thai. And the second round, it starts on the ground where it's like, hey, I'm going to sit on my butt, Rodtang. You sit on your butt. All right, ready, go. Then he'll be fucked.
Thanks, DJ. Good luck.
Yep.
For our next question, we go to Dylan Bowker of Sportskeeda. Go ahead, Dylan.
Hey there, Demetrious. I appreciate you making some time.
Yes, sir.
I'm just curious because one of the past times we were talking, it seemed like, the dirt biking was a big thing for people in your family. Can you talk about the recent 65cc upgrade there? That seemed big.
It's good. My son, he's been into motocross for a very long time. Well, for a year. And it was time for him to upgrade to a 65cc. So being able to be involved in his life and see the transition from go from, a 50cc from like 30cc to 50cc to 80cc to, 65cc, working the clutch and being able to share that passion with him is super exciting.
Yeah, that's awesome to hear, man. And I'm kind of curious because also per past conversations, it seems like there's a lot of reverence for like the Crow Cop versus Vanderlei, like the Aoki mixed rules bout. Like, how excited are you to like kind of like have yourself interwoven within that rich history that you seem to admire so much?
It's dope. Like I said, I've only seen 2 of them, the Crow Cop and the Shinya Aoki one. So for me to be able to be part of that kind of, mixed martial arts history that, hey, there was a time where I feel like Kei Yamamoto has done it before too. There's a part of me that feels like he's done K1. He's done actual just pure kickboxing. So, and then also, what's his name? Tenshin fought Kyojo Horiguchi in pure kickboxing. So those guys have, cemented their legacy in that legacy of that special rules fight where an athlete completely does something different. So I guess you say me and Rodtang are kind of, almost laying down foundation for the future if people want to do it, that it's possible.
Yeah, for sure. And then just lastly from me here, because I mean, obviously, hyper focused on this one, but just the fact that you're still the number one contender in the division, like should you get the ideal outcome here, would like another title pursuit be the next step, or maybe pursue more intriguing like hybrid bouts? One.
No, I think after this one, it'll definitely be just pursuing the title again, fighting whoever is next. I know Kyrat Akhmatafi's been on a run. You got Yuya Wakamatsu taking on Adrian Moraes. So we'll go back there. And then I think if I'm going to do a special rules fight again, I'm just going to do, like, if I was to do something, it would just be pure kickboxing. Like, that's the thing I would love to do next. Like, when I don't want to have to go back and forth. I would just be, if we're going to do, and for me, Muay Thai and little gloves don't really, I feel like if I have little gloves, I feel like I should grapple and submit you. So for me, the next thing, if they're like, hey, you want to do a special thing? I'm like, yeah, let me just do kickboxing. Like, I'll try kickboxing. But I'm getting older. We'll see what happens.
Thanks so much for the insights, man. Much appreciated.
Yes, sir.
Next question comes from Nick Atkin of SCMP MMA.
Hey, DJ, how you doing?
Good, you?
Yeah, not bad, man. Thanks for taking my questions. I just wanted to ask you a little bit about last week. Obviously, your teammate, Bibiano, unfortunately, he lost the bantamweight title that he's held for so long. What did you make of the performance?
He looked great, man. He looked physically great. He dropped John Lineker, and it was an amazing fight. John Lineker has, the reputation. I'll never forget watching him fight TJ Dillashaw in the UFC, and he literally laid on his back and TJ elbowed him like 5 or 6 times. And I was like, dude, this guy's got a jaw, but it was a great fight. And Bibiano will be back, he's still young, 41 years old. Still got a lot of skill set, and, it was an amazing fight.
Yeah, have you spoken to him at all? How's he feeling physically and mentally? And is he interested in maybe coming back for that title?
I haven't talked to him. I like to give him his space and let him do his thing. Obviously got my fight coming up, but I think I'm gonna reach out to him here in the next couple of days to see how he's doing. And we've all been there. Like after my last fight, I lost. I got TKO'd, and I never thought I'd get TKO'd my whole career. And when I came home, I was surrounded by my family, and forgot about the fight. Like I was talking to my friends. I was like, this stuff never exists. The only time it exists is when you jump on your phone and go on Twitter and Instagram, because that's when you see yourself get knocked out. It's just the truth, right? Like I can go the whole day without jumping on my phone, and I won't even see a glimpse of mixed martial arts. But once I jump on Twitter and Instagram, that's when you get flooded with all that stuff. So I think he's in a good spot, and I think he'll bounce back. And Bibiano is very strong mentally.
And who's going to be coming out there to Singapore with you? Will it be James Yang?
It'll be James Yang and Tony.
Okay. And last one from me. Sorry, a bit of a random one. I know you're a bit of a gamer. What are you playing at the moment? Any Elden Ring?
No, I'm not playing no damn Elden Ring. Playing Lost Ark. And here's the reason why I'm not playing Elden Ring. And it's always funny, right? Like Elden Ring. Oh man, this game's amazing. It's the best thing. And it's like, guys, this game, this style of game has been out since 2000 and maybe 7 or 10. They started with Demon Souls, then went Dark Souls 1, Dark Souls 2, Dark Souls 3, Bloodborne. I beat every single one of those games, and I have raged every single one of those every time I play that damn game. Why do I want to play Elden Ring? And then for me, the thing that I felt like what lacked on those other previous games and its predecessors is that it didn't really have a storyline for me. It didn't have, like, for how cool the combat and the fight sequences are, and just the overall game itself, it just lacked, like, just story. Even though there's a lot of lore in the game, but you have to read it. So there's not a lot of cinematic that I would love to have in that game. So Elden Ring, I'm not going to play it. I've done it many, many times, and I don't want to get pissed off and break something.
Yeah, I'm struggling with it myself. All right, man. Thank you very much, and good luck for the fight.
Thanks, man. Appreciate you.
Our next question comes in via text from Kittinan of Kalsod, who asks, Yuya Wakamatsu says he hits harder than anyone else in one, including Rodtang. Without having fought Rodtang yet, what do you make of that statement?
It could be very possible. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Yuya moves better on the feet than Rodtang. I know that, and he's faster than Rodtang. But I haven't been hit by Rodtang yet, so I can't say that he does. The person who's hit me the hardest in the whole entire fucking world is Dotson. He hit me, and I felt like I was fighting a 185er, because we have a 185er in our gym who hits like that.
Wow. Okay, that's interesting. Khan from Daily News asks, do you have a preference between Adriano or Yuya Wakamatsu? Which outcome is the most interesting for you and your future in the division?
Well, I think either outcome is interesting for me, to be honest with you. I beat Yuya Wakamatsu. I lost to Adrian Reyes. So I think either outcome will be interesting. But when it comes to those guys and their skill sets, I feel Adriano obviously has a better grappling, right? He has a better grappling. I think Yuya Wakamatsu is way more fluid and has better rhythm on the feet. He might be just as long as Adriano. So I think Adriano can't use his length as much. And Adriano, he has a very unique style going about how he fights. And so does Yuya Wakamatsu. They're both they like to test the distance and never go. They've never been the type of athlete that's like, I'm coming for you right now. Like, I'm gonna cross distance. I'm gonna get you in the clinch. We're gonna fight. It's a little bit different to where Yuya is more of a poker, and he kind of uses his speed to go pop pop and throws 1-2. So those guys are more of what's the word we're looking for? Counter fighters, right? So it'll be interesting to see.
Are you bothered at all by getting the Adriano fight back, or is it just going to be a matter of if he has the belt or not?
It's a matter if I make my way back to that opportunity, I guess you can say. For me, I've lost to Brad Pickett, Dominic Cruz, Henry Cejudo, Adrian Moraes, and losses are losses and wins are wins.
Our next text question comes from Panipong Thai who asks, as a student of martial arts, what is your favorite aspect of Muay Thai?
Favorite aspect of Muay Thai. I'll probably say the clinch. I think the clinch is probably my favorite aspect of it, just because the clinch kind of reminds me of wrestling, like controlling somebody's posture. I would have to say the clinch.
Another question coming in says, back in the day, you used to operate a forklift. Can you tell us about when you knew 100% that your future was at mixed martial arts?
Probably after I fought for the world title against Dominic Cruz. I made I made some good money from that fight, and I was able to quit my day job to supplement, not working, 40 hours a week. But even then, you still don't know if your I guess you could say, your career is going to be mixed martial arts, because all it takes is 2 fights back in the day, and then you'll be out. You get your pink papers and get your walking papers. So for me, it was just, grinding every day and training and then winning my fights. But if I have to put like a stake in it, it'll probably be after that fight against Dominic Cruz.
You've spent your whole career having people wanting to fight you. Is Jared Brooks on your radar? Because he was talking trash about a lot of people. When it came to you, he was super respectful and basically said you're his hero growing up, and it'd be an honor to fight you. Did that call out reach you? And has he been on your radar of what he's been doing? He wants to move to flyweight eventually.
Well, he said, that's awesome that I've been as serious as a kid. An amazing athlete. He's been doing amazing things. And I think he'll probably give Joshua Pascal his toughest test, if not beat him, because he has that constant pressure and grind. And yeah, if our paths cross, dope. If it doesn't, I ain't worried about it.
All right, last one then. You must have been asked this a bunch of times, but as it stands right now, do you have an official prediction of how this is going to go? And do you have a final message for the fans?
I have not gave a prediction since my amateur days of career, since I fought as an amateur. So why would I start now? And I've been an amateur since 2006, ladies and gentlemen. So I have not gave any damn predictions, and it's not going to start now. And for the fans, make sure you guys tune into this fight. 1X, get the pay-per-view if you're in Asia, or you can watch it at www.1fc.com. I'm super excited for this fight. This Rod Tang special rules fight. Don't miss it.
DJ, always a pleasure. Great to have you back. Good to see you.
Thanks, guys. Have a good night.